Welcome. Hopefully, first time this microphone adapter will work with the 360 camera. Get going. Traffic in the Labrina area, Bushcat 250 out, about to become airborne and heading south. Not above 2000. Labrina traffic. Alrighto, so we're just airborne out of Labrina, and today's trip is going to be travelling down to Baskerville Raceway, which is just near Hobart, and we'll actually land on the racetrack where I should be doing some work today and tomorrow. So stay tuned, and we'll check in along the way, various updates. Launceston Tower, Bushcat 2508.
Bushcat 250, Lonnie Tower, g'day.
Bushcat 250 is just approaching Tamar Island 1500, request a clearance to track direct Tamar to Cressy.
Bushcat 250, transit approved.
Transit approved, Bushcat 250. So we're just coming into Launceston, the city of Launceston over there on my left, and Tamar Island just below us, which is a FIFO approach point. We just cut the corner through here to Cressy. Once we get to Cressy, we can commence a climb. We just stay outside of controlled airspace and just zip up over the lakes. And then down the other side of the lakes, we get pretty close to Hobart. So our times today, we're looking at the whole 11 minutes from Tamar to Cressy and 40 minutes down to Hobart. So probably just under an hour flight time. We have got a pretty decent tailwind today, which is helping us along nicely. Typically we see about 75, 80 knots. We've got a ground speed today of 90 knots. So in little aeroplanes, every bit makes quite a big difference. So it's quite good to have a bit of tailwind. So yeah, tune in again soon. So I've moved the camera because I couldn't reach it over there. A bit better here, hopefully the angle works well. We're at 6,500 feet above the cloud and 105 knot ground speed, so really nice tailwind as we're heading over the eastern side of the lakes part of Tassie, which is probably about 3,000 to 4,000 feet most of the lake, so it's quite high up. Lots of holes, so once we get to closer to Baskerville, we'll make a descent down and yeah, land at the track. Righto, we're coming into Hobart now, underneath the controlled airspace steps. Quite a bit of activity. With some bushfires out to the, well, would be my right, which is out to the west coast of Tasmania. We've got about 20 aircraft fighting fires at the moment, which was started by lightning. So they've even brought down a Herc and a 737, as well as the two Black Hawks fighting machines. So some pretty cool stuff flying around at the moment. We're coming in at 3,000 over this hill here. We'll then drop down to 2.5, which is the bottom of the step over the top of Baskerville Raceway. I usually fly just a quick observation just to make sure the track is clear, and then we'll shoot an approach and be on the ground pretty soon. Alright, lumps and bumps should be done now. Obviously a bit of wind from the north, which actually will work in our favour today, which is good. And normally I land on the track, but I think we're going to look at landing on the grass today. There's some activity on the track, although that activity is my company doing some work there, so they know we're coming and they'll oblige. But the grass is probably a bit nicer anyway, so we'll use that. This is a tricky approach. It's got a high set of power lines on the final leg, so we need to make sure we clear those, and then it drops into a bit of a valley. But coming from that side, which is the east side, we do land uphill, which obviously works in our favour. When you come from the other side, it is quite hard because the ground does fall away from you, and landing downhill is definitely an art that's not particularly easy, because as you're sinking, the ground is also sinking. So you often land a lot further down than where you thought. So yeah, landing uphill generally a preference, unless you've got a really good headwind, in which case landing downhill is fine, because you can obviously reduce your ground speed and just hover it in. So there's a little bit of information, or useless information. And we're just going to come over a couple of little hills and we'll be able to see the racetrack. Alright, so I've got the racetrack visual there. So we'll be overflying and doing a right-hand turn, coming back in and around towards the river there on the right, and then that sets us up on that final leg. Plenty of go-round options. With any non-conventional landing, always a good idea to have a plan and make sure you don't back yourself into a corner.
Identification terminated. Score 1200, frequency change is approved.
And yeah, if it doesn't look right from 500 feet, it's probably not going to look right from 100 feet. So my rules generally, if it's not looking right, just go round. Don't force it. Which is another good reason to carry plenty of fuel, and I have about 3.5 hours on board. So lots of options there too. There's never pressured into having to land, which is good. Baskerville Raceway, it's a pretty awesome track. Been here for, I don't know, 70, 80 years, 100 years. Long time it's been there. I think it's about 70. And holds some pretty cool race meetings there. And obviously we use it for our corporate driver training, which is what's happening out there today. I can see the cars going around, so we'll keep an eye on them. But my team on the ground will also hold anyone so that I can land safely. All right, tune in and enjoy the ride. So one of the things generally with any sort of foreign airstrip, I always find give yourself a decent final. So you've got plenty of time to set the aircraft up, get the speeds right, get the descent rate right. You don't want to be turning high and low and get yourself in a pickle. Good view of the Derwent there, Hobart on our left. The new bridge, water bridge up there on the right, nearly finished by the looks of it. Alright, we're coming around the base leg now, so what we're going to do is start our setup for the approach, where we bring in a stage of flat, eyeball the track, there's the power lines, and we're going to trim a bit, get a bit of power on, and then full flat. So you can see these pretty big power lines here. They're actually not too bad, but obviously one of the tips of power lines is if you aim for the towers, then you know that you're going to miss the line, whereas the other bit's actually a bit hard to see, so you don't want to get yourself in a pickle there. Alright, so we're back a bit slower, a little bit high actually, so we'll just bring her in nice and slow. Start to see the cones. They put some cones out for me on the grass, but alright, we're well clear of those lines. They're the only power lines we need to worry about. Now we can sort of come in nice and slow. And that's that. Easy peasy, isn't it? Airspeed's low, 40 knots, and away we go.
Clean out the ways, or nature waits.
Okay, so trundling along nicely here, coming up over the lakes as we did on the way down, and we mentioned those bushfires. You can see the smoke haze now. It was actually over Hobart last night. Certainly can see a fair bit of it out to my west side, which is out to my left, and a fair bit of reduced visibility ahead. So we're just going to monitor that as we go. It's one of those things that you don't see a whole lot of. Obviously we have cloud issues and fog, but smoke and fire haze is obviously just as challenging. So we'll keep our eyes open. I've just chatted to an aeroplane that was just operating out of a strip to my right-hand side, and yeah, happy days. So just coming up Abeam Oatlands now and tracking north. So probably looks like about the worst of it here. Still got around about that 10 kilometre or more visibility, particularly out to my left and behind me. A little bit ahead with the sun there is just making it a little bit more hazy. So I've got the big lights on the wingtips. That way it's just anyone will be able to see us even if they're on the ground. Always helps. And we'll see how it looks when we get to the other side of the lakes here. I'm pretty sure it'll clear. But I am tracking a fair way left of track, and that's because, you know, got the option to go wherever we like here, and if we can miss the thicker parts of it, then why not? So we'll track a little bit to the left of track and just pick where it's a nice bit of clearer air and better visibility. Just tuning in for a quick update. I've now diverted a bit, and by that I mean 90 degrees left of track. That side is looking over on my right side, looking just pretty average visibility wise. There's some cloud at about this height, so we don't want to get tangled up in that. As I said, out on my left hand side here, visibility is much better. So we've got tons of fuel, So I'm going to divert over this way, and then hopefully I can get a clear run around to the right-hand side. Definitely to the south is still very good, so where we've come from. It's really just the edge of the range here. Pretty much the cloud base and the smoke seems to be hanging around in the same spot. So I reckon just a few miles this side, and we'll be able to pick our way down and across just a bit more to the west of track. So I can see the edge of the range here. So that means once we get over there, we can drop down and we'll probably find it will be quite good. Blue sky above us. So we're about, looking at that, about 8 miles to the left of track now. So it's not a huge diversion, but I think a necessary one. Don't want to get tangled up in over there. So yeah, we're just going to be able to resume track shortly, and then once we get over the end of this range, we should have some nice visibility.
Helitrack 777, November, Victor November.